Well, hello, hi everyone. Thank you for coming. I will start with first introducing myself. So I'm Katrina, and I'm science data analyst. But for the last 2 years, I'm working more with data, with people than data, actually. And yeah, I'm also teaching our academic and administrative personnel how to use Pure, showing tips and tricks how to better use it and what to gain out of Pure. I'm also validating some context types and dealing with a lot of other issues as well, but I have an amazing Pure team helping me to do that. Also, my colleague Elena, who was helping me to create this presentation, as well as Christine, who is here to help me, support me as well, and helping me in everyday tasks. Yeah, and the university I come from is Riga Stradiņš University. We are international university, and 30% of our students coming from abroad to study with us. We have amazing and excellent academic personnel that is helping support the studies and research. Our three main specializations are medicine, around 65%, then natural sciences and social sciences. We implemented Pure in 2021. It was in spring, so we are using now Pure for more than 2 years. And actually it took us 4 months to go live. What is important for the next part, or actually whole presentation, is that we are ISO 9001 quality management standards certified. Before I continue, I would like to recap of yesterday, what insights I got. Actually, there are 2 key points. And actually, it was a great knowledge to gain, talking with others and listening to other presenters. And it was amazing, actually, when there were those questions, to see that we are actually gaining from Pure similar things. That was surprising for me, that actually the answers came up quite similarly to our experience. And the second thing was that we have different levels of knowledge, and sharing with others, it is really helping us. I would say we are still novice users of it, as we are using only for 2 years, but we are moving in fast pace. Now we have Pure as our research information management system, but I would like to go a step back and to quickly explain where we stood 3 years ago before we had Pure. And it's very simple. We didn't have any system for that. We were using Excel and Word sheets. The researcher, academic personnel were asked to fill out the reports, several reports throughout the year. Whenever they came, or evaluation, or different kind of reports, they were asked to fill out. Sometimes even the questions overlapped, so it was a lot of workload for them. And as they have limited time, they usually skipped some questions or some parts of it and didn't do it fully. Also, the administrative staff received all that, sometimes in different kind of formats. It is quite actually interesting that when there is a set format, they try to create different variations of that. So administrative personnel received that and needed to deal with all of this. So now we are using Pure, and the researcher is not anymore in the center for each of the reports. Now they are using and filling it out in Pure system only once, and all of the departments can access the information and create several reports through outside sources as well as to internal stakeholders, and they can gain the data freely. when we were creating reports, some questions arose, like some things didn't match up. There were some discrepancies in the data. Here's just an example of research output type that some questions arose that something didn't match, and all of this for research output types. And there are, of course, similar questions to other context types as well. All of that, and of course ISO 9001 quality management standard created the need actually to assure quality for us. Here you can see 4 different levels that we have noted down for ourselves. Internal instructions, validation guidelines, recheck, and process descriptions. In the next couple of slides, I'm going more into the depth. I will go and explain with 2 examples how we are dealing with all of this. And first, starting with projects. Here is just a visual representation of how it looked for some cases for projects. There were missing participants, missing dates, sometimes no date displayed at all, or missing end date. Of course, also some funding data or keyword section. For the keyword section, actually, we have implemented new fields for the reports that we need to fill out. And for us, as administrators, those are mandatory fields, but for others, it is not. So that was missing, and after implementing these steps, we are now sure that everything will be filled out. The first level is internal instructions. Sorry, those are in Latvian, but we have made it with print screens in written format, with print screens and notes saying what should be there and explaining, giving examples of what should be there. And we have marked which fields are mandatory to fill out. For us, again, nothing pure always. When I'm mentioning projects, I'm meaning all 3 levels, like applications, awards, and projects as well. And what I would like to add as well is that we are not using yet awards management module. We are using the basic one, but still I think everything this can apply to that as well. So moving on to the next level, projects validation. Here's schema for projects administrator, how to better place the project in the best place in Pure, and to know what kind of information it should show on the project entry. I won't explain it more closely, but also with colors, it is for different type of projects, how to validate and what should move where. So maybe it looks a bit difficult, but when you're actually going through the project entries, it's helping a lot. And for the next part, next level, this is a recheck. Once everything is validated and actually went to public portal, we still saw some data didn't match, some mistakes, something was missing. So we created template in the reporting module, then get that out, and now with comments and colored cells, we are asking our project administrators to fill that out. What I didn't mention before is that we are entering project entries centrally. That is done by project administrators, real-life project administrators, who know about the project a lot. So they are the ones who are filling out these project entries. We have several administrative departments that are dealing with projects, and they are filling out that in Pure. So when we create these notes and colored cells. We send them to those departments, and then they are actually going in Pure and correcting their mistakes or adding the missing information in most cases. On the last level, I would like to mention the process description. This is a small part. Actually, it is written on several pages with a lot of information. But this is for each department and actually for each person to know when and what should be done with regards to project entries in Pure. Again, this might seem a lot, but it's helping us a lot to maintain the quality and actually to ensure that each project is entered into the Pure. Next, I would like to go with the example of publications, how we ensure the quality for this context type. It is similar on the levels. I would say some steps, what we have done, similar. We are working together with a few administrative departments to create all of this. So here's again visual representation of how it looked before for some severe cases that some authors were missing or were double entries for the authors. Links were missing, some maybe metadata was missing as well, and the keyword section. As it is important for some reports, this was also a great need that we needed to overcome. On the first level, here you can see for the publications, we have for actually all context types that we are using instructions for academic as well as for administrative personnel, how to use it, where to add the information, and all the tips that they need. On the next level, here's, I would say, validation and also a recheck. Again, it's a very small part of maybe 40-page document of how to validate and how to recheck that we have all the publications that are affiliated to RSU in Scopus and Web of Science databases, that all of the publications are in Pure. So once a year, my colleagues from library go through the list of Scopus and Web of Science publications and adds into the Pure. For us, the main source of information or who provides the information is researcher, but on some context types, as for projects, we are helping out. For publications, he is or she is the main source of information and who fills out. There are some helpers from administrative staff as well who can help them to have this data in Pure, but in general he's the one to fill out. This is just to know that we will have all of the data for ministry to report. On the recheck, my colleagues go through the list. They have several questions for the fields that need to be checked, whether something is missing, whether there are double values or some kind of misplaced information. They go through from in the Excel file and check, and then again send to editors for research output section. And on the last level of process descriptions, a small part, for the for my colleague and the whole department, what should be done before what date and what information should be, or what actions should be taken. I will go move away from the examples. So you might ask, why all of this trouble? Why to go really into depth of quality? Firstly, we want our Pure public portal to be our main science media channel. Second, for our remuneration, as if the data won't match, they will get less. So it's a very big point for researchers and academic personnel in general. Also for reports to ministries, as we get base funding from them, so we need to have the precise data, the best quality of them, and some other reports, internal, external, for external sources as well. And all of that is creating the need for us to go into the depth of quality. Last but not least, we are still moving in the process of quality assurance. We are never stopping. Here are just some points that we are continuously improving, or where we would like to move. But what I would like to say is that the world is changing, Pure system as well. Some new reports come, and we will keep moving together and enhancing and enriching and keeping our quality high. So that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Katrina. Really nice presentation, and wonderful that you made it so well in time as well. So excellent time management and great content as well. I really love to see the fact that you are proactively addressing data quality with the users and the departments together. Make sure that the right quality data is getting in, and then you have less to correct afterwards. That's, I hope, is the result as well. So wonderful to see that. Questions from the audience? Diego.
Thank you. I was interested in that you said that communications have access to Pure. So you said library, communications, and so on.
Yeah.
You mean like media, press media, or what kind of communications is that?
It is our internal communication department that communicate to outer world.
Okay.
So they can access the data as well. Those were all administrative departments that can go in and create reports.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. It's very, very interesting. I like your very systematic approach. But I think you've been working on this for a little over a year, so that you do an evaluation of how many errors you have on average. So how much work is involved to do all this data correction?
As I'm mentioning, we are still moving. Like some of these sections were actually implemented maybe at the end of this summer for projects, for example. So it would be hard for me to estimate now. But as you saw in the examples, it is visual, the representation that is showing that we are actually moving in the right direction. So in percentage, it would be hard for me to tell now. But it's a good question to look at back how it was and now to see actually.
And how many staff members are working on data quality validation?
We have several members, but they are not working full-time. So we are collaborating with internal departments, or quality department, library, and from research departments. And when their need arises, for example, when we saw there are some discrepancies, or there's some report that we need to report, then comes all that.
Any other question? I was, by the way, impressed by all the, the detailed diagrams and documentation. And if there's customers in the room that would be interested in taking a further look at it, would you be willing to share as well?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I had you said a 40-page documentation on validation of research output. Was that what I heard?
Yeah, around 40 pages, like on the process description.
Oh, the process description is amazing.
Yeah, but it's not only involving Pure. It's some part, because it actually was incorporated in the whole project process, like with all the documentation that go through. the project. So it is incorporated in all of that, starting from when we noticed some project funding, we apply for that, starting from that, actually from that step, and then that incorporating in Pure.
So I also like the idea that you started out really with sort of a comprehensive way of entering data, also towards your researcher once they add this data in. How did they adopt, did they find it cumbersome?
Sorry?
The researcher, when they put publications into Pure projects, there's a lot of data you're asking them for. Did they find, so all the keywords, all the things, how do they adopt it? Are they okay with it? Now I say this because I'm married to a researcher. He actually hates putting data into Pure. But that's a lot for them, yeah?
It is a lot of work, but as I mentioned, the projects are done by our administrative staff. For research outputs, they are the ones that are putting. Because if it's not in Pure, it won't reflect on remuneration. So what they get is
there's
salary.
Money in it.
So we are now saying that if it's not in Pure, you won't get what you deserve. I would say we have different attitudes toward it. Some are really happy because they don't need to fill out all those Excel sheets for several times during the year. Some, of course, are asking, like, especially from our social block, is that they are missing some connections to some databases. For medical personnel, it is good. They can connect with different kind of databases, but for social, it's kind of a bit difficult for them.
Yeah.
So they are more complaining than others, but we are trying to improve on that as well, to have suggestions to maybe use the file to export and then import in Pure through that.
Interesting. So that's the presentation for next year's conference?
Maybe.
Yeah, really, really interesting, and I like your systematic approach. Just a question, really, though. Are you planning to bring on the awards management module, do you think? And then you'll need to map your workflows onto that, or are you happy with what you've got at the moment?
We are still debating. Actually, last week or 2 weeks before, we had a meeting regards to that, but we are still internally debating because we have our own different systems to deal with that. So it would be a double work, but we also see some benefits if we gain that. So we are still kind of debating on that part.
Any further questions?
Just one, but there are 5 C's from Thomas Gurney, and of course, yeah, there is work being done in Pure for data quality checks as part of Pure. So, do you see what you're doing? There are additions you think would be very welcome in Pure? Is there lessons learned here that we could all benefit from?
I think yes, of course. I would say, yeah, like all those levels that we have. Like I saw that some of you are mentioning as well, but maybe not so systematically going through that. The key benefit, like it is hard to know down just one. I would, but I think, yeah, it's hard to mention just one. I think that all those 4 levels are great to have, like to go through. Maybe in the future to add some more levels. So, yeah, sorry.
Maybe still a question from James.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the systematic approach Vito there. But one of the things that my brain was kind of worrying away at when you were talking was thinking about the work we're doing on the generic assessment kind of approach, where we're setting out the criteria for selection, for assessment, and so on and so forth. But it feels like there could be a natural kind of sort of marriage between the systematic quality checking as an initial kind of point of the assessment exercise. So your selection gets completed, but then you can focus your quality checking on specific areas. And the systematic approach seemed to be a really nice kind of fit to that sort of a thing. So I think there's lots of opportunities to answer your question, Armand, there about how we might be able to start building this in. And we did actually do something vaguely similar to this in the, at least in my memory, the 2014 UK ref exercise, where on the metadata forms for the submission, we had a data quality sub-tab, which then included a sort of traffic light system that looked at the relative quality of the data to support the submission processes for that. So I think there's quite a lot of parallels here that actually might be very interesting. So I'm going to think a lot more about what you've been saying. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
it's actually an interesting approach. Yeah, we did that for the Ref 2014 and also for the Ref 2020, where it's sort of in the research output editor itself, it had sort of an additional tab where all the fields were, well, looking into the Ref exercise and the criteria for that. But this here could be an interesting one. Let's go home and talk about that.
Great. I'm afraid it's time to wrap up this session as well. Thank you very much, Katrine, for a wonderful presentation.